Aprilia's RSV4 has always been one of our favorite sport bikes. Its chassis is ultra-stable with good feel at corner entry, the engine is tractable with loads of power, and, for a sport bike, the RSV4 is actually pretty comfortable. For 2017, Aprilia plans on taking things one step further with yet another update to the platform. A big hurdle that all manufacturers face right now is meeting Euro 4 emissions standards without adding weight or losing performance, and Aprilia admits that this was one of the big factors in this latest update. Like the 2.0, the RSV4 gets updated electronics and brakes, but also a few more tweaks to the engine. In terms of electronic rider aids, Aprilia traction control remains, but is now adjustable on the fly without having to close the throttle and has a new operating logic. Similarly, Aprilia launch control has new strategies, and Aprilia wheelie control can be adjusted on the fly using a new switch on the left clip-on, according to Aprilia's press release. The RSV4's quickshifter now has an auto blip downshift function, plus both bikes will now come with cruise control. We laughed about cruise control on a sport bike when BMW came out with the system on its S1000RR in 2015, but 40 miles down the road and I swear you're going to fall in love with it. Cornering ABS that was developed in collaboration with Bosch comes standard and has a rear lift-up mitigation function built in, plus can be combined with any of the RSV4's three new, updated engine maps: Sport, Track, and Race. Aprilia's new full-color, thin-film transistor (TFT) display replaces the long-in-the-tooth analog-digital combo setup on the previous generation RSV4s and looks pretty in pictures. All of the info seems to be laid out nice as well, and it should be easier to navigate. Which is good, because honestly, I always thought it was way too difficult to navigate the old bike's dash and adjust settings. For the tech-loving types, Aprilia has updated its V4MP system, which allows you to connect your smartphone to the bike through Bluetooth. As was the case before, this system will literally let you pre-program the bike's electronic rider aid settings for specific corners or sections of the track, as in allow you to ask for TC level 1 at turn 5 and TC level 3 at turn 6, etc. The system has been updated so that it doesn't drain your phone's battery as quickly too. Both RSV4s still make a claimed 201 horsepower at 13,000 RPM and 85 pounds-foot of torque at 10,500 RPM. The last RSV4 we put on the dyno made 172 horsepower at the rear wheel. The only difference is they now use a more powerful ECU with higher calculating capacity that allowed Aprilia to raise the max revs by 300 RPM and ditch the variable timing intake ducts. New pistons are lighter and claim to reduce blow-by, while a honing treatment was added to the connecting rod heads for reduced friction. Because engines love reduced friction, other updates include new valve springs and optimized valve timing. Aprilia says the combination of these updates has improved overall reliability. The RSV4 gets larger, 330mm brake discs and Brembo M50 monoblock brake calipers. Meanwhile, the RF gets an Öhlins Nix fork and TTX shock, the latter working on a new progressive linkage that's claimed to increase the reaction time of the shock. The RR still uses Sachs components. Aprilia hasn't been too specific with this next point, but does claim that the new bike is more than a second faster than the previous RSV4. At what track and with what riders? Honestly, I'm not sure. What I do know is that the RSV4 is and always has been a great platform, and that with the updated electronics and bigger brakes, as well as other touches like the TFT display, Aprilia is making it harder and harder to overlook the RSV4 when shopping for a new sport bike. The chassis and engine have always been among my favorite in the category, and while I'd like to see a few changes to lighten the bike up at some point, I think the RR and RF are still definitely worth considering.